Arsenal trashes Manchester City 5-1, my friend.
Yup.
What are the takeaways here? What did we learn from this matchup? Because Arsenal essentially just had a party at the Emirates Stadium.
No one's surprised, right? Like, let's be absolutely real here. No one's surprised that City lost this match. Maybe by 4 goals.
5-1 surprise.
4 goals, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah.
But 2-3 goal margin, not surprised
that doesn't surprise me, no.
whatsoever, man. City's defense has been all over the place for the last couple months. I said in the Champions League preview with City, they've steadied the ship with their record as of recently. But you look at the opponents they're playing, bro. It's nothing like Arsenal. So Arsenal showed everyone what's actually going on at City. They're the same team. Feisty players here and there, but their defense is in shambles.
Yeah, and when I'm thinking about my biggest takeaways, what did I learn? I do think we're having a little bit of a shifting of the tides here, man, because one thing that I do like a lot about this matchup is that it's a rivalry in the sense of the players do have a true disgust for one another. You saw immediately after that first early goal from Arsenal, Gabriel celebrating in Haaland's face, making it apparent that, low-key, fuck you, Haaland type attitude. And we've seen this boil for the past few matchups with how City won the majority of them, and Haaland went so far as to say, stay humble to Mikel Arteta after a match. These are some fighting words that are being said back and forth that I actually, as a neutral, enjoy because you get matches like these where the fans are extra into it. I thought the Emirates Stadium today was incredible. Yeah. The atmosphere, even after that 5th goal, they're celebrating like it was a game-winning goal. You had Lewis Skelly scoring his goal, a beautiful goal to make it 3-1, and then doing the Haaland celebration in the process as well. I love the subliminal messaging here. I love the back and forth attitude that both these teams have, and like I mentioned, my biggest takeaway is the fact that Arsenal wins 5-1 against this Manchester City side who they've fallen second to. It's a little bit of the tide shifting finally in terms of Arsenal's journey here with how they've dealt with Manchester City. I think this is the first time that they've scored more than 4 goals against Manchester City at the Emirates Stadium in their history. I think that showcases just how big of a statement it is to beat Manchester City in this fashion.
And for City, though, their giveaways were horrible, man. That first goal, Stones getting risky, Akanji not really knowing what to do with it. Arsenal take care of it after that. It's 1-0 on Partey's goal. Another bad giveaway from Foden. And then Havertz should have had another goal in that first half off of another giveaway from City. So yeah, a big statement with Arsenal here as they really showed that they were just completely the better team.
Kind of crazy that they did this without Saka as well.
Listen,
what I would argue, probably their best player, and just didn't even feel his absence, honestly, up front because of those giveaways and ultimately so many players getting on the board. Partey scoring a goal, Odegaard scoring a goal, Havertz, Lewis Skelly, and then Nwaneri scoring a banger of a 5th goal. But overall, man, I just... This is why I can't trust Manchester City when it comes to that Real Madrid matchup. Even though Real Madrid lost yesterday 1-0, they still show way more fight, way more intent, and just don't give away these opportunities the way that Manchester City does. For Arsenal, though, winning 5-1, as I mentioned, big statement. What do you go from here? Where do you go from here? Do you just continue this momentum? Do you continue being optimistic about potentially winning the title? Or is this low-key the highlight of their season?
They just have to do it against tougher teams, man. City's mid. They've been mid for 3 months. So ultimately, this is like beating a mid-table team. I don't think it's impressive, to be completely honest. The history makes it impressive because Arsenal haven't been able to do it. But yeah, City are so beatable nowadays, man. And they concede goals left and right. This is a fantastic performance for Arsenal, but I need to see Arsenal do this against Bournemouth. I need to see them do it against Liverpool. Every time Arsenal play against teams that actually have a good defense, they never show up. They always go ghost. And so I can't look at this game and think, oh, okay, Arsenal can now beat Liverpool. I don't learn anything from that. This is just a good on-the-day statement.
What about for Manchester City then? Where do you go from here? Because, bro, I'm starting to ask the question. With these losses piling up, before we shot, I saw just a rundown of the losses that Pep Guardiola has experienced in his worst season of management so far. And the list is piling up, bro. The list is piling with some really bad results. And we're not talking about just close losses. We're talking about getting blown out multiple times. Where do you go from here with Pep Guardiola? Because the more I see him lose in this fashion, the bigger I think the pressure becomes of maybe moving on from what was a legendary coach from Manchester City, maybe posing the question of, might be time for you to go.
Yeah, and I was thinking at the end of this game, there needs to be a mass exodus at Manchester City from a player's perspective, man. Kyle Walker started it. He's gone. You know, that's actually crazy.
Yeah.
He was regarded as the best fullback in the Premier League for the last 6 years. And then mid-season, he's in Italy now. That's actually a massive statement from Walker himself, but also from City saying, yeah, all right, we're going to start phasing out some of these older players. I think it needs to continue, man. And honestly, I want to go through the squad right now and see who needs to go and who needs to stay. Starting at the back, bro, Ortega/Ederson. Honestly, I think they need to get rid of both of them. If we're talking about City being an actual championship contender, going for the title year in, year out, I just don't think they're going to do it with Ortega. And Ederson has had such a weird year, man. Obviously the injuries, but he's had some really weird moments in the fall where he's just on a massive decline himself personally. So I think City realistically need to get a top goalkeeper.
Yeah, and then I would pose the same question for the center back situation here. Akanji wasn't great once again, and Stones is slightly getting integrated back into the team. He's been on and off this whole year too, after an incredible year that he had, that Champions League winning season where he was playing defensive midfielder at one point. He's nowhere near that level anymore.
Yeah.
They bring in Kusanov. He showcases that he's not ready yet. He still needs more time. I think in the center back position as well, there needs to be a massive revamp, if I'm being honest.
Dude, same. Since City have the infinite money glitch, right? They can do whatever they want. That's why I want to go through this whole squad, man, because I think it's realistic to say Akanji, Stones need to go. And what they need to do is get a no-nonsense defense, man. That's why I'm surprised they spent $40 million on Kusanov, because Kusanov is like Akanji. He is like Stones. He's a ball-playing center back. Great to have, but this City defense right now is literally dying at the hands of this ball-playing defense.
What's going on with Ake, though? Because that would be that's the one that surprises me this year with not playing up to the level that I expected out of him. Is he a result of just this whole backline being negative, or is his play also a big part of why they've suffered so far?
That's the thing. Ake's also been kind of like Ederson and Sons, where he's had these weird injuries where he consistently gets hurt. That might be a good enough reason to let him go, but at the end of the day, I think I'm okay with Ake's overall performance because I think he's the smarter out of Stones and Akanji. So if I had to keep one, I would keep Ake. But City, when they were at their defensive best, is because Diaz was in his prime. And Diaz is no nonsense. And that's actually a good thing that he's not really a ball-playing center back, because he would just boot it upfield, and it worked. So City need to go back to that, man. And they need to get rid of these players that are just low-key not confident on the ball right now. And then going out wide, I mean, it doesn't get any more obvious that there's a problem when you look at Nunez.
Yeah, Nunez.
Nunez as a right back,
yeah,
man.
it's just not going to work.
It's not going to work,
yeah.
bro.
Terrible game once again.
Yeah.
Guardiola on the other side, I think, is one of the few bright spots this entire season. You're pointing at me.
I'm making Gvardiol my captain.
Hey!
In this mass exodus, I'm saying, Gvardiol, I'm shaping this whole squad around you.
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Out of all the players this season, he's the only bright spot. He's doing everything. Yeah. He's defending. He's pulling the strings. He's actually dangerous when he gets in the box. I've never seen a fullback be the best player on a team, but Gvardiol's pulling this off. I'm building a team around my left back. That's what I'm doing right now.
That's what I love about Gvardiol, though. He's so versatile, man. He shows signs of being even a pretty solid winger if he committed to just being that. He can be a center back. He can do it all, basically, and I think he's been one of Manchester City's best purchases in recent memory. Nunez, though, I think is probably the biggest weak link of this starting 11 that I saw today. Just on paper, I'm like, what? That is clearly something that needs to be fixed. So they need to go out and address that as soon as possible. Curious to see from the midfield up who you want to let go, because we got some big legendary City names here that ultimately you'll have to swallow a tough pill letting go and moving on from.
Yeah, I think honestly City needs to get rid of their entire midfield.
Kovacic
is gone. Silva definitely
Silva has to be gone. Yeah.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but definitely De Bruyne needs to go.
Probably time.
It's time.
And it's okay. It's okay. To let him go. I think he's fine. Let him, sending him out and let him go ball out at Charlotte FC. Yeah. Let him just cook in the MLS or something. I think it's time for De Bruyne, and that's perfectly fine. The most interesting one for me right now, Phil Foden. Because Premier League Player of the Year last year.
Yeah.
What my boy, I've said it multiple times on this podcast, one of my favorite players when he's on it. This year, and especially in this game, trash. I'm going to say the word trash, bro.
Yeah, just didn't do anything.
Like,
man.
he is not just in the midst of bad form, he is playing like utter trash, giving the ball away, can't get his touches right, and then his IQ on the ball. What happened, bro?
Yeah.
What happened? He used to be so smart, so clinical, so technically sound. I'm not seeing any of those traits this entire season, and it's getting to the point now where it's becoming a pattern. And now I'm concerned for the future. Can he get back to the level that we saw last season and the years prior to that? Or was that low-key his best version and peak Foden, in which case you have to move on from?
That would be crazy. I'm hoping we see prime Foden once again. That'd be the only reason why I keep him, is that hope, that potential, because we know he's done it before. Definitely keeping Foden because of that. But yeah, dude, I can't believe how black and white his performances has been when you compare last season to this season. It's shocking, really. Like, almost like a one season wonder type of vibe. I'm not going to go there fully yet. I'm going to give him another season, but it is getting really close to that because he's playing like he used to when he was a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, when he just debuted for City. Feisty at best, but realistically not impactful.
Yeah, and the age. You got to keep him for the age. I think that's a big part of it. He still has, he's like 24, 25, maybe 26? I'm not sure. But up front, you also have Marmoush, you have Savinho, you have guys like Jeremy Doku, and then, of course, Haaland. Do any of those get transferred out? Do they get moved on from here? Because they are pretty relatively young players, but obviously not up to the level of like legends that we've seen, like Riyad Mahrez or even Raheem Sterling when he was on it, man.
No,
like,
honestly.
we just haven't seen a player of that output. Gabriel Jesus when he was on it.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that same level of output from these players. Who do you keep? Who do you move on from?
I'm keeping all Marmoush, Savinho, Doku simply because of what you just said. The potential is there for them to thrive, but I'm putting them on a 2-year probation period. Because if they don't pass the test that I would put them through over 2 years, they're gone.
Yeah.
They're gone, bro.
Yeah.
But Gavardiol, for example, he could stay for 10, 12 years. I don't care. He's completely safe. But these wingers that City have, man, they're just not convincing right now. And it's ultimately why, they can't score against teams that actually have a formidable defense.
Yeah, I think their offense still has a lot of work to do. So I agree. They have that transfer glitch in hand. We'll see how they address these problems and what they do moving forward. And if Pep Guardiola is there to stay for next year, but Manchester City does have issues. I want to refocus just over to Arsenal because they did get a big win today. Who was the man of the match for them today? Because I saw pretty good performances all around.
Honestly, I think it's actually kind of hard to pick. There was goals from pretty much everybody.
Rice had 2 assists, Havertz goal and assist. Odegaard was everywhere. Partey great defensively. Lewis Skelly, his rise. The center back's really good.
A huge moment, by the way, for Lewis Skelly, man. He's 18.
18? I didn't know, bro.
Yeah.
I was not aware of him and the other youngster in Wanyeri. I'm not even sure if I'm saying his name right. 2 pretty good players so far. I mean, scoring like this on this big of a stage, I think was pretty notable and interested to see how they progress these following years for Arsenal.
Yeah, honestly, I did not see Lewis Skelly being the go-to fullback for Arsenal mid-season, basically. He's had 19 appearances in his debut season. It's fantastic for Lewis Skelly, man. But if I'm on Arsenal's sporting director team, I'm clipping that Havertz miss, and I'm immediately going to the boss and I'm saying, we need a 9.
I think so.
We need a 9. If we want to be serious here at Arsenal Football Club, if we want to win a Premier League, if we want to go deep in a Champions League, we need a 9. And I'm just playing that Kai Havertz miss on repeat, bro.
Yeah, man. They just on repeat while the presentation's going on in the background. You're just standing in front of it. You get into the details of it, and the presentation's going on. You see that Havertz miss just back and forth.
Dude.
I agree, man, because there is no depth in that position either. They don't have any reliable backup to go with. And for a club as big as Arsenal, for the aspirations that they have, they need to have a more reliable player up front. Havertz has actually been good this season, I would argue.
He's a good player.
He's been great, but he's maxed himself out. Like, this isn't what he does. He isn't the guy to get that clinical finish for you when you really need it. Because at the time of that second miss, it was a really tight game still.
Yeah.
Early in the match. He didn't get his lone goal in this game until they were in up 3-1 and it was a counterattacking goal.
Yeah.
I need to see more, and there's a lot of options out there in the transfer market. I want to see Arsenal go for it and solidify that issue up front.
I'm just scared they won't do it, man.
I've avoided it for so long.
And I'm kind of worried that it's actually Arteta who's the culprit behind this.
He's being stubborn.
I think, and it's not a bad thing to think of this, but I think he thinks he can do it without a 9, which is
Like on some innovative shit, or
Yeah, like it's dope if you could pull it off.
Well, yeah.
It would be so dope, and I think that's why he won't do
Do
it.
you realize what you're asking out of Saka, Martinelli, and
That's the
Trossard by
problem.
doing that, man?
Yeah.
I think Saka's realizing it too, man, because like, I'm fucking working my ass off over here. Get me somebody to send the ball to.
Yeah, it's so frustrating, man, because it's like the opposite of Pep. Like Pep's, I think, gone too far in the let's play from the back type of style, and it's actually backfired now. City's defense can't handle that play style anymore. And I think it's gone the other way for Arteta. He's trying to do it with creative midfield and wingers only. But, I mean, as Liverpool have shown, you need completeness. You need threats from the wings, you need threats from central positions, and you need threats from an attacking midfield. To win a trophy, you need all three, man. Arsenal can get damn close, but I truly think they're going to need a true 9 if they want silverware.
And that's how I close out my review for this match, is that, yes, this was a great result for Arsenal. 5-1, a massive day, especially that it happened against Manchester City specifically. I think for their narrative, it is very important to get a result like this. But at the end of the day, Liverpool still leads the table. They still have a game in hand. They're up 6 points.
Yeah.
And I think to be able to jump Liverpool in that quality aspect and that title race winning aspect, they need to address the issues that I think become apparent when they face off against much better teams. So that's where I leave off with Arsenal. Great win, but more work to be done here, and hopefully something to build off of for the rest of the season.